Hi, my name is Liz Hathaway, and this is my take on the week, my astrological take on the week. Well, it's a really exciting, interesting week this week. So let's sort of start with the lightweight stuff and then work up to the more serious sort of trends for the week. Light and airy, Mercury moves into Gemini on Monday. Mercury in Gemini, sign of rulership. It likes it in Gemini. It can deal with complex problems and make them feel less heavy, less weighty, less serious. We feel less stuck as well. Mercury in Taurus, earthy, grounded, moving into Mercury Gemini. Things are starting to free up and move. It, as I say, it can deal with complex problems, Mercury in Gemini. It can allow things to coexist. It can hold duality in mind. So it's great. And then we see on Tuesday, Mercury as well, trine in Saturn. So the message remains sober. It's Saturn, but there's a buoyancy to it. There's a little bit more lightness, light at the end of the tunnel, in a way, if you like. So that's one very interesting change this week. Also, what we see this week is Venus on Wednesday turning retrograde. And on the day that Venus moves retrograde, we see Mars moving into Pisces. This is on Wednesday. So we see some shift here too in the reception. Okay, so Mercury, when it was in Aquarius, it's all about fighting for your ideas. And, we've had a lot of very zany, off-the-wall ideas out there. And with Saturn in Aquarius as well, we've seen a lot of policing of ideas. Things taken off YouTube that don't fit in the dominant narrative, if you like, which is very science-based. Science is pushing the envelope here, and other voices, other people who disagree, if you like, who are coming with, maybe some madcap ideas, I grant you, but the policing of it is very Saturn-Pluto season, that sort of trying to close things down that don't fit the dominant narrative. So we've seen a lot of that with Mars in Aquarius and also Saturn in Aquarius. But now Mars moves into Pisces on Wednesday. So it's less driven by ideas here. It's about, again, it's ruled by Jupiter when it comes into Pisces. And what does it exalt? It exalts Venus. Venus in Gemini at the moment. Again, so Mercury in Gemini, Venus in Gemini. It's about getting the economy back moving. It's about getting the trade up and running, getting the money back into the system, making some wealth, generating some wealth. This is very much a dominant theme now as we try to come out of this inertia, which is going to be quite difficult. We can see that when we look at this week as countries, like the UK is talking about. In Holland, we're already starting to sort of, kids are back in school today, and hairdressers are back open, limited, but still museums, etc. So we're coming out of this kind of a sleep. But at the same time, what we see this week, which is the more serious undertone to this week, is that a lot of the big guns are going retrograde. Okay, Saturn on Monday, Jupiter on Thursday, and Venus a bit lighter, but she's going retrograde on Wednesday. And as I say, on Wednesday, when she goes retrograde, Mars moves into Pisces, where, the energy is wetter, it's moist, it's a bit dissipated, the energy in a way. So there's a sense here as well with Venus going retrograde, the willingness to spend, the willingness to invest back in the old economy. It's a slow start. It isn't like off to a flying start. That's the feeling I get. It's sluggish. That's very much Mars in Pisces. There's a sort of sluggish feel to it. Saturn retrograde as well. There's a heavy inwardness to that. People are looking at the structure of their own lives. They're reassessing where they are now financially. So there's a slowness. There's not this embracing it and immediately, a big spend, if you like. So this is going to take a while because Jupiter's going retrograde as well, and Mars in Pisces ruled by Jupiter retrograde on Thursday. So there's a soberness here. It's a slow start. It's not everything going, wow, let's just go out there and dig deep in our pockets and spend. And there's other threads running through this week as well. For example, we see at the moment Venus is way out of bounds. So, you know, as she goes retrograde, she's slowly starting to come back, shall we say, into the, within the beaten track, because once planets go out of bounds, they go outside the norm, you know, they have a freshness to them, an oddball quality, but it's also things are unusual, things are not quite as they should be. So Venus retrograde, she's slowly moving back, but it'll take a while, but she's slowly starting to move back towards, you know, home base, if you like, back within the ordered structure of things. But what's interesting, I think, on the weekend, you know, is that we see the Sun in Taurus on Friday, trining Pluto, and on Sunday, trining Jupiter. Now, both Pluto and Jupiter are retrograde, so they are sort of moving back slowly towards their second conjunction of the year, which will be, I think, on the 30th of June or there around. So they're moving into their retrograde conjunction. But the Sun on Friday trines that retrograde Pluto, and on Sunday it trines that retrograde Jupiter. So the Sun is connecting up these two planets that are back moving slowly towards the conjunction, the second conjunction of the year. The third one will be in November. Sun in Taurus is very, very much as well about the ground under our feet. How solid, how stable, how, you know, are we standing on sand or are we standing on rock here, you know? And I think what we will have found with Pluto in Capricorn, when Pluto initially went into Capricorn in 2008, we had this massive, almost immediately, you know, the whole the subprime mortgage crisis kicked off in the States. We had, you know, the big banks, you know, tumbling in America, in the UK. It was like this massive banking crisis, and it turned out that our economy at the time was very much built on sand. There was not a lot of, it wasn't very well structured, and it was very weak, actually. It looked robust, but it wasn't. And I find this Sun in Taurus, which, you know, is very much about, even though I must say the Sun is at that time also around the fixed star Algol, which, you know, is a bit like losing your head. You know, it is a bit of a difficult degree that the Sun is reaching out to Pluto and Jupiter from. The actual degree is not so favourable in Taurus. But if we can expand it a little bit, we could imagine we could be losing our heads now. But there is a sense, I think, that what Pluto will have done over the period of years now, the 12 years, which is itself a whole Jupiter cycle, the whole Jupiter Pluto previous cycle, even though it was in Gemini, the actual conjunction, the whole period, that first year of 2008, 2009 showed how deep the how deep the pain was going to be in the collective from that financial meltdown, Pluto Capricorn meltdown, because things were not robust. They were built on sand. I think what we're going to see this time round, even though economists are saying it's going to be much worse than the 2008 crisis, I have a sense that the economy in its fundament, though, is a bit more solid and a bit more grounded and a bit healthier from the roots up than it was then. And I think that, you know, as the year progresses, as we get to the second and third Jupiter-Pluto sextiles, and then we get the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction in Aquarius in December, I think we're going to sort of recognize that there is a little bit more fundament in the whole system as Pluto prepares to leave Capricorn than when Pluto entered it in late 2007, 2008. So that's a hopeful note there to end on. Just want to give a quick plug. I'm going to be giving a webinar on Sunday. That's this coming week Sunday. It's 9:30 MET, Middle European time, in the morning, for the Cosmic Intelligence Agency, the CIA, and to Julia Simmers. I'll put a link underneath here. So do try and join. I'm going to be talking about earth magic and about how, with the shift of the ages, certain things are surfacing from the earth and are maybe in some ways pointing us forward. Okay, thank you for listening. Bye bye.